the first thing that I want to talk about was when Charlie got shot. I had about 4 or 5 friends in my friend circle that I could have really honest conversations, cordial. They were from the left. I'm pretty much from the right. And after Charlie was shot, I'm down to 2 because 3 of them just hate Charlie so much. I can't have a conversation with them because they don't even want to investigate the type of man he was. They just think he's a homophobe or a transphobe or something. And it changed the trajectory of my life beyond losing Charlie. I've lost friends. And I think, it sticks with you more than a normal public figure being, dying, when it also, comes into your personal life.
Yeah, I'm sorry that's happened.
That was point one. And the
Sorry,
second point I wanted to make.
hold on, Matthew. Before you go on, I'd love to have Kristin and then Ian comment on what you just said, or maybe they've got questions for you, Kristin.
And I assume that thank you for the question. I think a lot of people are going through that. It's just with your left friends, right? So how have your, I guess, more right friends handled? Are they in a similar situation as you are? Are they also losing friends?
Yeah, we're all, our friend group has been shook. This is an earthquake.
Yeah.
Between the left and the right. And it's how they see Charlie. It's the insensitivity like no other. And when Trump almost was killed, there was an honest conversation of relief on both sides, but I don't think it was coming from the same place as this. I think they were worried that if Trump had been shot, that there would have been a civil war, and they were relieved that there wasn't a civil war. They weren't relieved he wasn't killed.
Yeah.
There's Mark, I think you said it on a number of your shows, that understanding of where your friends are coming from, I think, is so important right now more than any other time. And I feel it kind of a little different. I feel it with my even more to the right friends, right? I have to kind of see where they are and where they're coming from. And we need to do that with our Democrat friends and with our Republican friends. If you're a Democrat, you need to really understand why this shook conservatives so much, and the history that, really helped Charlie get the platform that he had, why there was a void there, why he filled such a void for so many people. But as Republicans, I do think, and this isn't popular with some of my far right friends, but we also need to hear our Democrat friends who were saying, well, I really felt that he didn't, he didn't approve of this or that, and go and talk to them about it and correct the record. Because if, I've watched more Charlie Kirk videos in the last, few days than I have in my entire life. And it's very clear that he was a loving person. And it's very clear that he didn't have judgment and he wasn't out there spewing hate. He was expressing his faith and his beliefs and welcoming people to push back and say that why their lives were different. And I've shared so many of that with my Democrat friends to say, you're reading the headline, you're not really reading the story. And so that dialogue is what Charlie lived his life doing, that we really need to do that to try to understand where our friends and not friends are coming from when we disagree so strongly in this aftermath.
Kristin, I'm so glad to hear you say it, and I've been saying it from the beginning. You said it more eloquently than I have. People on the right, you can just say, hey, no false equivalencies, not our obligation, whatever. But if you want to make the country better, and if you want Charlie's memory to be honored, you're going to have to explain it to Democrats. Because, Ian, I keep hearing from Democrats, even now, saying, yeah, I didn't really know who Charlie Kirk was, but I hear he's a bigot. And not investigating that. So, Ian, where do you think things stand regarding what Matthew said? Are you experiencing that Democrats are not willing to talk about this in a sympathetic way?
Yeah, I have been. I think it's pretty complicated, right? So what's not complicated is there's some folks on the left who are celebrating this, and I'm not saying this is not anybody kind of on the official left. I'm just saying in online spaces, for the most part, celebrating Charlie's death, which is just wrong. And if that's any of your friends, I understand why. That could like rock your friendship, or y'all might not be talking anymore. But as far as the reaction of callousness, although not celebrating or wishing Charlie Kirk's death, that comes from a place, I think, of genuine hurt, right? And I think that kind of empathy, even for a take that you might think somebody is wrong on, is kind of exactly what Kristin and Mark are getting to. I have been listening to Charlie since his online presence was made aware to me. And I will say, I think, and I'm going to say this in good faith. Hopefully, you can understand what I'm saying. I think a lot of the things that he said were in bad faith and were inflammatory. Now, do I think that he has the right to say them? Absolutely. Do I think that other folks on the left should be going to college campuses and doing what he's doing, like Liberty University? Absolutely. Do I think that that is cause to celebrate anybody's death? Absolutely not. But I do think a lot of what you're going to get as far as an insensitivity is a reaction to perceived bad faith, insensitivity from Charlie in that moment. And I think that kind of relief you're talking about as far as Donald Trump not being killed and the lack of relief you're seeing from Charlie being killed could stem from that reality. So it's complicated. I'm not making excuses for anybody, but that empathy point and really trying to encapsulate a good faith person's point of view. Again, I don't think the conversation is even plausible with folks who are celebrating death in that moment. But for folks who have generally listened to him, like I have, and have been hurt or believe he's arguing in good faith to frame ideas, or in bad faith to frame ideas, I think that's more of a conversation that could be had.
Ian, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but can you name something specific that he said that you or others have seized on?
Yeah, the most obvious thing for me is the kind of quip. He does a lot of these things a little trolly. There's two things. One, the Juneteenth kind of dig, without any real backing that I have heard. He's said a lot of things. He puts out content every day. But really railing against Juneteenth, which has been a celebration in the Black community for a long time, and a lot of folks really appreciated that being made an official holiday, and saying, I'm going to work and I don't think we should be celebrating Juneteenth. I like, what about the liberation of slaves is controversial, or should receive backlash. I didn't really hear a good faith argument from him there. Secondly, the kind of overt attacks on DEI, which I know are like more of just a right-wing talking point generally, but the way in which he did it, which is like saying he would profile Black pilots, and I hope they're qualified. It just kind of, there's a way to get your point across in a way that's not as incendiary. Again, you can do whatever you like. He did a good job for himself building his profile with that type of content, but in a conversation with Christian and I hope we wouldn't have the conversation like that,
Yeah, Ian, I hear you exactly, and well said, and I appreciate the tone with which you said it all. This episode brought to you by Cozy Earth. Cozy Earth makes incredible sheets, bedding, shirts, and the pants, which you hear me talk about all the time. And we'd like you to be able to experience the comfort and joy of Cozy Earth products. The bedding comes with a 100-day money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty, but you won't need those. You'll want to keep it. Go to CozyEarth.com right now. Use the promo code TWOWAY. Save 40% off. 40% off the entire site. Couldn't be more comfortable. And as you heard me say before, you can wear the pants anywhere. I have another dinner tonight out. I wouldn't say it's super fancy, but it's a little fancy, and I'll be wearing the pants. And people just either not notice them or notice them and say how nice they look. Cozy Earth products are viscose made from bamboo. They're very breathable, very comfortable, but again, they look great, very soft. Go to CozyEarth.com right now. Use the code TWOWAY, 40% off the best pants, shirts, everything. And do a post-purchase survey. Tell them you heard about Cozy Earth right here. That'll help us out. So please do that. Built for real life, made to keep up with yours, Cozy Earth. Thank you for your attention to that matter.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the Two-Way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.
And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and Two-Way tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.